Hey guys, Monty Ma here. This is the Mighty Sharp Network, and we're on the Shareholders podcast. I'm glad, man, to have my guest with me. This is the second time being on, but the first interview you'll see. Didn't know what I was doing the first time. That was back in April, but it's actually really kind of apropos that I'd have him on right now. Mr. Derrick Reed, sir, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful, Monty Ma. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. When we talked in April, we hadn't seen a lot of the things that have been happening in this country in terms of the George Floyd murder. And we didn't really even know much about Breonna Taylor. It had happened, but we didn't know a lot. And so I feel like it's really good that we're hooking up now, even though I had messed up the audio before. But I want to just speak very quickly. Your mindset, how have you been doing in these times as a black man seeing all you've seen?
You know, it's different timing. And I think we all can agree that it's actually bittersweet if we really search ourselves and see what's going on. And wake up the George Floyd incident and the Breonna Taylor, that would be the bitter part. The sweet part on the other side, for lack of better words, is the fact that people's eyes are opening towards systemic racism. That's number one. I felt good that people opened their eyes to that. Also, I felt good to see so many races, other races, wake up to it and take part of this fight, because more than anything, we've been fighting for years, but we need other races that need to join the cause. And right now, to see that, it's just a good enlightening, a good awakening. It feels good. It feels like something's different now than before. So, yeah, that's why I mean bittersweet. You know, unfortunate events. But what's going on now, and the eye opening, and hey, we'll take it. Let's go. You know?
Yeah, it's progress, and I agree with you. It's different this time because, like you said, I've seen all kind of races out there and people that are standing up for this injustice and things like that. So very quickly, just for those that don't know, Mr. Reed, he is a business owner. He's an author. He's a motivational speaker. He is a true pillar in his community in Delaware. And he has his own podcast, and we'll get to all his plugs and things like that. But I want to know you're totally in tune with your community, and how are the constituents? How are the people? You know, is our spirits kind of up? Are people more cautious, especially now we got COVID and all this stuff? You know, a lot of times barbershops are kind of the central hub for that. So how are the people doing?
Right. Say it again about the barbershop. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just saying, in terms of you being in the middle of the community where you are, how are people feeling? How are spirits? Are people up? Are they optimistic, you know, with all this turmoil going on?
Yeah, well, I think it's a mixed bag. And you mentioned that I started a podcast, and I'll tell you why I'm mentioning that. I'm mentioning it because doing a podcast, and as you know, you have to do research. You have to get facts. You have to hear the heartbeat of the people and learn what's being said. And in the barbershop, we get the kind of like the raw, uncut on political, racial issues, social issues, and we get to hear everything. And there's a mixed bag out here. If I could be honest, I'm learning so much about our people. You got one side of us who want togetherness, that we want to be considered equal. We want to be considered as Americans, just like you. It's just we're different color. You know what I mean? Those type of things. But then there's the other set of people that I learned about that saying we say we want equality, but we really don't. We want to be against them. We want payback. We want to know they did this to us. And it's so hurtful to hear both sides. I'm in the middle listening. And I didn't learn in that little bit of time that, oh my goodness, and it shocked me. We got two sides in our own race. So that's one thing that is kind of like shocking to me in a sense, because I'm fighting for equality. I just want to be considered as an American that's out here just like you. And I want to live the dream too for me and my family. And I don't want you looking at me different because I was born here and I'm American, you know? But you got some people say, I ain't no American. Listen, man, they done did this to us, and we want to pay them back. So that's the mixed bag. The other thing on the COVID, we can't help but to understand that there's one enemy against all of us that don't care about race or creed. You know what I mean?
I know that's right.
We got to pull together because there's only really one race, and that's the human race.
That's well said, man. Well said. And it's funny, though, because now I want to ask you, you wrote a book. It's called Mindset Go.
Mindset Go.
You know, with this awareness now and with the things that have happened, I hear a lot of people say, man, I'm ready to do something, but I don't really know what. I don't know, you know, they got energy they want to put into something, but they might not have, you know, the right guidance. How can your book, Getting the Right Mindset and things like that, how could your book actually help a person who maybe wants to do something but don't know how to start or doesn't know how to get the right training? You know what I mean? How can you apply
Right.
that to them?
Well, it was actually a good question because that book is really for that starting point of someone don't know, who am I? What have I been taught? What do I know for myself? What can I do to find out my purpose? And that was the purpose of Mindset Go. With me, I wrote it in the format as a mirror, number one, and that's something that squeezes you. I tell people all the time, you squeeze an orange juice come out of it because that's what's in it. I wrote the book to squeeze you and to ask you questions and to challenge you through past circumstances to think, what came out of me during that time? Did patience, because whatever's in you going to come out when you're being squeezed. Did patience come out? Did anger come out? Did courage come out of you during that situation where life squeezes you? So the thing I say is, when the book squeezes you, the good things you capitalize off of, and then the bad things that come out of you, you correct. So it's a starting point and a mirror that's actually going to squeeze you to find out who you are and who you are for yourself, and not because someone told you that or something that you've been taught throughout the years that became a behavior. I want to squeeze you and want you to know, what do you think about you? What do you think about other things? Because we want to hear your perspective, because why? We're all individuals, and Mindset Go does that.
Man, that is outstanding. And, you know, there's a part that you have in Mindset Go called time currency.
Yes.
And I wonder, can you just hit a little bit, you know, on what
Absolutely.
time currency is and what that means?
Time currency is actually the second chapter in the book on purpose. It could have easily been the first. Why? Because time is the most important asset in our life. One thing that we can actually give and can't get back. You know, I tell people all the time, you can actually spend money, and we all know it comes and go. But once you spend time, you really have to watch where you spend it and where you invest it in, because you're not getting it back. Time currency means time money. And a lot of times you want to even finance your dreams or finance what you're trying to do for the future, but you don't have no finance, no money. But one thing we do have while we're here is time. And you have to use your time currency, time money, as something that you need to invest. So you'll start really looking at your time as being valuable because it's something that you possess. Now, the older you get, of course, we all lose time, currency, to lose time. So you want to use what you have now, even when you don't have finances, to make sure that you invest time into things that's going to give you a positive return. Time is your most important asset. I say spend it well.
Man, that's good. That's good. That is so important. So I want to ask you very quickly, being who you are, and I've seen your social media, and you pour out to a lot of people and a lot of young people, and they're looking at you and they're seeing, man, okay, wow, that's what I want to do. And he's got a business and he's doing that. I want to ask you though, who has poured into you? Who's been like a mentor to help, you know, Derrick Reed become who he is? Is there anybody that you can remember maybe when you were young, you know?
Well, even that's coming up, things are different now, where back in the day, even when you had drug dealers who was like your elders in the neighborhood or they on the corner, they didn't let you come out on that corner and do what they were doing. Even if they were doing stuff that was wrong, they said, I'm doing this wrong, but I want to show you that you don't have to do this and go to school. So they tell me, get in the house, lights coming on outside, or what are you doing out here? You know what I mean? So I had elders and stuff like that actually was in the wrong part of life, you know what I mean, per se, where I always tell people, I have people role models on what not to do, you know what I mean? So I wanted to win. Yeah. And as I got older, I started to have great relationships with people such as pastors. Believe it or not, man, I have a lot of pastor friends, young and old, who has poured into me and became mentors even now. You know what I mean? They don't push all the religion. They didn't push all the religion on me, but what they pushed on me was relationship, you know what I mean, with God. And they teach me, they saw that I was hungry for life. They saw that I had something in me that, you know, God can only place there, and they wanted to cultivate that. So from the drug dealers in the neighborhood growing up to pastors as I got a little older.
Yeah, that's it. I tell people all the time, man, you're not going to get to where you're going by yourself, and you need help. You need somebody to, you know,
Yes.
and especially again, I don't want to keep harping on it, but you being a black man in your community, especially for young people to see that is important, man. I don't want to hold you up too longer, man, but you're doing cut, convo, and coffee.
Cut,
you know,
convo.
How did you come up with that? Where did that concept come up from?
You know what? In my barbershop, again, that is the, Black Man Country Club. So everybody and everything comes in the barbershop. We now hold to a standard. It's just that we're going to talk about religion. We're going to keep it raw. We're going to talk about politics. We're going to keep it raw. We're going to talk about neighborhood issues. So we're going to talk about you. We're going to keep it 100,
Right.
And I thought that it was such an organic conversation that has been taking place in barbershops and salon over the years that, wow, everybody don't get to come to the barbershop salon, and everybody needs this realness. So me and my daughter decided to come up with the podcast, Cuts, Convo, and Coffee, which means cuts, which represents the barbershop or the authenticness of a barbershop. Conversation, convo, was the conversation we have in it. And then coffee is a sign of you waking up. People want to drink some coffee so I can wake up, so I can brighten up. So Cuts, Convo, and Coffee was derived out of the barbershop, and that's what the meaning of the word is. We decided to do a podcast because why? We want to address these issues as authentic as possible. And sometimes I say we beat you up a little bit, but sometimes you got to get beat up a little bit because we get so caught up in feelings and emotions. And one of our tags is we're going to always pick facts over feelings, and we're going to pick intelligence over emotions. A lot of time our people are moved on feelings and emotion. Do what you feel. But you know what? You're supposed to do what you know is right, even if it don't feel right. Because some things you can feel that's actually not right. I mean, to my opinion, even with the Nick Cannon situation, you may feel that way, but was it right for you to say that and then generalize on whole people? You can say what you want, but you got to handle these consequences. So it's not all about what you say and what you feel, especially when you're in position. So we tried to get facts over feelings and, again, intelligence over emotions because Common Coffee podcast.
Man, that is outstanding. I love to always ask my guests one other question. Is there anything that you're reading or a book that you've read that's really influenced you that you can refer to the listeners or the people watching right now? Anything that you've read? And man, of course, your own book, but anything else?
Yeah. Of course, I read the classics too. So we'll start from the past of The Alchemist and stuff like that. Think and Go Rich, of course. For a lot of people that does motivation or listen to motivational teachings and even on finances, of course, those are books that stick out. I read a book recently, The 4 Agreements, that I really, really like. 4 Agreements. It's a new book that I'm reading now about growth. The 15 Laws of Growth, I believe, Maxwell. So I'm reading that. Yeah, John Maxwell. So I'm reading that. And that's my second book of his that I'm reading. Which I actually do like. I like John Maxwell. He said a lot of things that stick out to me, that connect with me. But one thing I do want to stress is that we have to read. You have to read. And we get into this new wave of social media and these social sites that we forget to pick up a book. And it's so therapeutic, number one. And then the knowledge, that you get out of it. So those are the books that I'm reading right now that I really actually enjoy. That's
so well said. And I'm glad that you said it. Of course, we have these phones and we just look up stuff, but we're not really reading. We're not really reading anything, and learning. But Mr. Reed, thank you, man. I told you guys this is the second time we had to do this. I messed it up the first time, but it's better this time because, we're not glad of some of the situations that happened, but at least we can speak on it and speak intelligently about it. Give your plugs. Let people know where they can find you and listen to your podcast and check you out on all your things.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. You can check me out on DerrickDReed.com. That's my website. Derrick D. Reed ENT, which is on Instagram, or Derrick D. Reed on Facebook, man. Cuts, Convo, and Coffee is usually on Thursday nights on Facebook, but you also catch us on Anchor, Spotify, and if you got an iPhone, go ahead and click on that podcast right now and implement and type in Cuts, Convo, and Coffee /D Reed. It's going to come up. Go ahead and subscribe, man. You can find me. And shout out to my manager, I Can Rock Entertainment, Mr. Kenny Brown, who always make it happen.
Shout out, Ken. Yeah, man. Thank you so much for the time, man. I appreciate you coming on the Shareholders. You have a blessed day, all right?
You too. Thank you, sir.
This has been a production of the Mighty Sharp Network. Executive producer is Monty Mont. Watch the corners and always stay sharp.